this. Nobody gives a damn about history. Alright? As long as people are gonna be starving right now, what matters is right now. History don't matter anymore. You just don't forget it. You just gotta respect it. And
Hi there, brother. Hopefully, you will value history as soon as possible because it is important. What you just said reminds me of a poem by a Russian poem writer, whatever his name was. I can't really remember right now. I'll try and get it for you. Um, he says in his poem, "Forget the past, focus on the past, and you lose one eye. But forget the past, and you lose both eyes." I hope you get the meaning of that. Sense of that, anyway.
still have a few friends and a few relatives that are back home, and believe me, it's not a pretty sight. You are waking up every day to cereal, bowl of cereal, and you're having kebab, and you're having crisp rice and chicken, and you can get. I don't think I'm under the pressure of the internet or the TV, as you're saying. I hear it firsthand from what is coming from back home, the people that call me and tell me what is happening back home. All right, it's not a joke when people are surviving on one meal a day. It's not a joke. I'm not getting that from the internet. I'm not getting that from the TVs. I'm not getting that from the media. So I am not brainwashed as you suggest. Okay.
Knowing that something is wrong is not the same as putting it right. You're confusing diagnostics with therapeutics. Knowing that there's no water, there's no electricity, there's no food in Zimbabwe does not mean you're putting it right. You are not living in Zimbabwe. So am I. So we are part of the problem as well. Let's ask each other, what have we actually done to help Zimbabwe? What are we sending home? Are we sending tractors? Are we sending any agricultural equipment? Anything to make their country industrialized so that they can actually have bread on their table. We're all sending cars, we're sending computers, we're wasting our time doing this. I mean, you and me, brother, we should be working together, making sure that they have the equipment they need, not what they want, to make sure that Zimbabwe is prosperous. I'm talking about industrializing that country. Right now, go into Harare and see if there is no fuel. If you are saying there is no fuel, lay on the road and see if you don't get bumped over. Just because your friends and my family and your family are telling us what's wrong with Zimbabwe is not the same as if they're telling us how to put it right. We have to actually find a solution by working together, brother. Let's find solutions that work. Let's stop sending cars. Let's stop sending computers. Let's stop just sending money. We are just becoming consumers of these European goods. Go into Harare right now. You find the expensive cars. You find the expensive clothes. Some that are not even in season in Zimbabwe. Let's stop being consumers. Let's start being producers. Let's send or actually implement industrialization into the mindset of a black man in Zimbabwe, because this is what we need.
Black people are being attacked mentally. By who? By the British? By the Americans? By the Canadians? Look, they have nothing they can get from Zimbabwe. There's absolutely nothing in Zimbabwe. We don't have oil. We don't really have much that the British can say, oh, without Zimbabwe they cannot survive. They've got a stable economy already, and Zimbabwe is the least of their problem. They actually feel sorry for us and for you. What are you supporting? What are you saying about yourself? Because the person that you're saying is a hero. Do you know how many Matabeleland people, the Ndebele people, had killed in the 1980s? I don't really think you know what you're talking about. This.
I understand. I'm not going to defend Mugabe on what he did in the 80s. But there's one thing that strikes me as funny right now. We are talking about Mugabe killing Develes in the 80s. Okay, the white farmers were there. The media still had access to Zimbabwe. Why do we focus on what happened in the 80s today? By the way, you say history is not important. But why are you bringing this up? We were there. I was young. I didn't even know it happened. I was still too young to understand politics. There were people who understood politics, even people like Changirai. They didn't stand up and fight for the Ndebele. They're standing up to fight for the white man's farm. And you talk about fuel being not being in Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe is not worth anything to the Europeans. Brother, fuel is worth something today. After you use it, it's just carbon dioxide. It even, brother, land is the most valuable thing anyone can die for. And I mean die for. There are people who have died for this land. America itself, look at the flag, look at the map. It's built up as if it's a checkerboard, dividing it. They're the first people to make land a commodity, meaning that they will do anything to become controllers or owners of land. That's why Zimbabwe is important in the eyes of the Americans and the English.
And then you say there's no hope for young Zimbabweans like us. At least I'm standing for what is right, and I'm saying exactly how I feel about the situation.
Just because you are talking about what you feel doesn't mean what you're saying is right. The future does not belong to the impulsive, it belongs to the wise. Wise up, brother, because what you're saying doesn't show any wisdom. Killing someone so that things could be better, I mean, it's not going to be automatic. Even if you do kill him, do you think that those who support him will just die at the same time? There are people ready to pick up arms for this. And that's not the route I want Zimbabwe to go in. I want it to be solved the same way we're trying to solve the situation that we have right now. Talking, brother. We talk this through like grown-ups. We don't pick up arms. If we have to pick up arms, that's the last resort. But brother, let's not pick up arms. We have too many people who we love that will die for that.
Going on to sanctions, you talk about sanctions. I really do not agree on sanctions myself, but it's if it's a way that's going to be a better way to drive away Mugabe, which seems not to be working, then then be it. But I do not agree on it, and it's probably one of the things that I can say that I can kind of like agree on you. And for you,
At least you agree with me on one thing, sanctions. But then you should actually understand these sanctions are not affecting Mugabe or his cabinet. They're affecting your family and my family. And they're the ones telling you about the problems. They're just feeling the heat